Ah, Lumia Island. The place where you get spanked on the butt by veteran players and people with Twitch plus set of Korean or Japanese characters while you are just trying to learn the game. I actually have more than 200 hours on this game, even though I plan to make this for my first 100 hours. But life happens, life happens. Anyway, this is how I transformed to a normal person, to a monkey that makes a sour face when running by Kirito or a handsome janitor. League of Legends is actually my first MOBA game. I've spent more than 2,000 hours in that toxic wasteland. I resented every single moment of it. I played the game since Season 2, but as I grew up and I took more responsibilities, I started to play less and less due to the fact that a single match is impossible. You are heavily punished when you abandon a match, and this match ranges from a mere 15 minutes to a big long 45-minute fiesta. I only casually played League of Legends but still delved in its much more competitive rank mode, where I was able to go to Diamond but usually just hover around mid to high platinum because of the WAG matchmaking and LP distribution that gives you 15 LP for winning against a full Diamond team as a low plat. So I guess you could say that I was a bit decent in the game if we would judge based on the rank that I got. Anyway, when I stopped playing League of Legends, I realized that I had so much more time in my hands and I am in control of it. I also felt more free, but even if I have real life things to do, I still had moments of free time where I just do nothing. So I decided to pick up a brand new game where I can get a bit sweaty, but you just play the game in a per match basis, just like League of Legends. No story to remember every playthrough, no progress to continue. You just play one game and you're done. You get your fix. Apex Legends was the next game I played and loved. It is the half of the genre that Eternal Return is in. It made for a great game for me to learn Battle Royale decision making when I eventually moved to playing Eternal Return. Apex Legends, just like every other competitive games, in my opinion, have a low skill floor and a high skill ceiling, which led me to easily putting in 272 hours in the game and landing gold within 2 weeks of playing. It's just super satisfying to play. You play a match for 25 minutes max before the map burns you to death. If you die, you can't blame your teammates for your bad positioning. If you lose a 1v1 shootout, you can't blame your teammates for your bad aim. If you die to fighting 3 people at the same time, you can't blame your teammates for your bad ego when you could have ran and survived. Every defeat, death, and mistakes in this game makes me want to just keep on trying to improve and become better for the next match, which was a very satisfying feeling that League of Legends never provided. Not even during the laning phase part of the game. The only time you can 1v1 an enemy and show how good you are mechanically. One thing I loved about Apex was how the game gave away the rank points. It is designed to reward performance and time spent. Defeat players, you get points. Survive long enough, you get points. You can earn points just by sitting in a corner and jumping off the map when it's just one team left. Well, earn points if you're able to overcome the negative points you start with. But that is not the point here. The point is that if you're a person who is mechanically gifted and was able to defeat players, you will get rewarded accordingly. If you get carried by a teammate to victory when all you did was watch them kill a whole squad, well, you will get rewarded by watching, and your teammate will be rewarded more because they actually did something, which I think is a super good system for giving away rank points. I personally haven't experienced bad matchmaking yet, because I feel like there are a lot of players as bad as me to be matched with. Okay, now that I've shared my experiences with the genre that Eternal Return are made up of, I'm going to now share my experience with Eternal Return. I found Eternal Return through a streamer in Twitch who often streamed the game, in which, to be honest, when I saw the game, it didn't impress me as much The game seemed boring and complicated, just another MOBA game with a few twists to it, I said, but in an attempt to interact with the streamer, I started asking questions about the game at hand, with the first one being, can you play it with friends? Because not gonna lie, a game is more enjoyable if you have friends with you. Which is yes, you can play with your friends. If you have only one friend, you can play duos. If you have more than one friend, you can play trios. And if you have more than two friends, you have to decide who to abandon. If you have no friends, you can play solo. Though the next thing I knew, I was doing the tutorial in an attempt to figure out the game and be more relatable. Related? Yeah. With the stream that I was watching. When I booted up the game, I was greeted with a somewhat cool cutscene of a doctor talking about how you died or something. And then there's an experiment and things. And it's anime. As an anime enjoyer, it brought me joy. Now, your tutorial character will be Kirito. Wielding his dual swords, you fight against mindless bears and super bad AI players. You are taught how to use the mouse, the keyboard, how to click things in the world, how to click on loot boxes and craft. Basically everything that a super beginner player needs to know. After that, you will undergo a tutorial where it teaches you in depth some of the unique mechanics of Eternal Return, like where to find the materials you need for the item you need to craft, the yellow triangle you look for in items, the pathing, and other fun stuff. I said, well, that's simple. Look for the items I need at Area 1, go to Area 2, and so on until I find everything, then fight when I'm full built. So now that I have Kirito in my character pool, and a purple lady, I decided that I will click the play button and start a normal game. And then I waited and waited. It took me around 2 minutes and 30 seconds to find a lobby, which for me is quite a long time considering I'm used to instantly getting a match as soon as I click that queue button. It got better because I was eventually placed with non-zero MMR players. I then did what the tutorial told me. I ran around as Kirito, looted, crafted my items, then killed people until I 1v1'd a super squishy purple lady that got one shot because of my thick plot armor. I won. I won my very first PvP match in a game I just started playing 15 minutes ago. And it felt good. It felt wonderful. The blood rushing in my veins are telling me that it's all me and no one else. I want to play more. Remember how I keep talking about how much time a match takes in both League of Legends and Apex? Well, because it is an important aspect of the game to consider. Eternal Return lets you play 3 games per hour if you survive until the end, because every zone is restricted by the 19th minute. This is the best selling point for me, in my opinion. It lets you satisfy your gaming and practice cravings more than other games. Let me give you an example. If you have a bad laning phase in League of Legends that it frustrates you, the natural and logical action is to practice your laning phase. And how do you do that? You play games, of course. How long does laning phase last in a regular game of League? 10 to 15 minutes. Up to how long can a full sweaty match last? Up to 30 to 45 minutes. You spend almost 1/3 of the time playing, trying to practice the part of the game that will let you meet your power spikes. Which means that 2/3 of the time you're playing, you are playing something that you don't want to practice. Something that you probably already know how to do on the character that you're using. So it is a bit better playing and getting better in Apex Legends, in my opinion, because if you want to improve your game sense, you can just spam trios. If you want to be better at shooting, movement, and fighting, you can just go and play arenas or spend hours in the firing range to get better. You basically are able to experience what you want to and practice what you want to in Apex Legends. And that is the same in Eternal Return. Your time is yours. You cannot be held hostage by teammates that refuse to surrender or enemies being toxic by refusing to end the game by prolonging the match. And you can't just simply quit a competitive game, right? Especially if you're playing ranked. If you do, you'll get penalties, you'll get initial queue timers, and even worse, banned for days. The time investment you need to give to such games are just too high. Especially if you're a busy person who plays video games on your little amount of free time. You don't put your time and effort to play these types of games just to lose, right? What I didn't like about Eternal Return. Let's start with what I didn't like about the game before I start talking about the great things that I see about this game. Number one would be learning the game. Remember when I told you all about skill floors? Yeah, you can start playing this game easily. Right click, use skills, look for the items with a yellow triangle, and focusing on the yellow triangle items. Then you should be golden, you can fight players. Yeah, it's not simple. Not as simple as that. Not simple at all. Apparently, your damage, your stats, and everything is not measured only by your natural level scaling, but by this thing called mastery and weapon type. Right here. I know that the game tutorial told you all about it on the second tutorial, but you have to be honest, all you learned about it is that you can level up just by running around and crafting items. Just look at this damage difference on level 10 weapon mastery at level 7 and level 1 weapon mastery at level 7 with Kirito. Would you press V then hover over this text while running around in the game? If you do, well then great job, that's half of the game mechanic. There are a lot of hidden game mechanics that the tutorials won't tell you, but it will make games much more easier or make you more powerful. My super personal opinions. There might be some obvious references and inspiration. Here, look.
Let the hunt begin.
It might be personal preference, but I feel like some of the voice lines are cringy.
Go.
The spell weaving and spell casting feels slow on some characters. As a Katarina main who is super used to fast and unpredictable playstyle, I immediately fell in love with this character called Shoichi, but lo and behold, he controls heavy because of his skill cast times. I believe most characters have cast times on their skills that makes you feel like you're suddenly not in control, even just for a third of a second, and it makes it feel clunky. The newer released character, Ekion and Mai, is definitely much more fluid to play, so future updates might be better for characters like Shoichi. Queue times. I feel like not many players actually play the game, so queue times are sometimes high and sometimes low. This cannot be solved through any patch, so if by the end of this review you realize that you want to try out this game, go on ahead and expand the community so we can play together in Lumia Island. Overall, the big con for me is the way the game will teach you how to play it. I can go more in depth about the tips and tricks that help me improve my gameplay in another video, so if you have tips you think will be really helpful for new players, leave it in the comments below. What I liked and loved about the game. Constant updates. The developers love this game. They constantly release updates for the game for balance changes, new characters. I mean, I played quite a while ago, but when I wrote this script, I played 2 weeks ago. A new character was released, and by the time that I was writing this, there was a new character, and after that, there's another character that was released a few days ago, and a character that was released. The characters are creatively made. Where this guy get his motorcycle? Why this cute waifu holding a burger umbrella hammer? Why is this small girl holding a gigantic hammer and bonking everyone with it? Why are you getting demolished by a guy with a mop? Why is Kirito also here? The game is just super creative and the characters definitely have some rich story into them. Another thing that I loved about Eternal Return are the match times. Again, if you're a busy person that tend to have a lot on their plate, this game is for you. You have to play for only 20 minutes after you've found a match, and if you're a normal person that does things during the day, your queue times will be negligible. Easy to learn. The game sure doesn't teach you a lot about it, but the more you play this game, the more you learn and the more you improve. I also plan to make a video on how I was able to improve my gameplay by smartly learning mechanics, so make sure to stick around for that. What I wish to see in the future. So far, my number one wish is that the developers keep on being consistent with their updates and support for the game. The game is quite young and the community is still growing, so I hope they keep on supporting it. Along with the continued support, I hope that there would be more development on lore and the whole Eternal Return universe. I believe that it will add richness and depth into the game. More maps. I wish that the devs will add more maps in the game in order to add variety in gameplay, but I guess that will be a discussion for another time. In conclusion, I plan to play the game more and make more content on it. I definitely will recommend this game to people who are looking for a game that you can play until you're happy, 20 minutes a pop. To people who like competitive games where they can show how much of a gamer they are and how much better they are than other players. To people who doesn't want to rely on teammates to win. To people tired of being blamed for doing an oopsie. This game will be super fun if you're one of those people. It is super fun and super enjoyable. So, if I was able to convince you to play Eternal Return and try it out, I will see you in Lumia Island.